medical researchers.
The sudden dismissal of the FBI chief by President Donald Trump triggers protests in Washington.
Brazil's former President Lula gives evidence in court before the country's top crusading anti-corruption judge. People power. Human rights criminals won't now be freed early from jail under a controversial court ruling in Argentina.
Real clinched the Champions League semi-final despite Atletico's strong start in the last ever Madrid derby at the Vicente Calderón.
For young adults who are HIV positive has risen by 10 years in the United States and Europe thanks to improvements in treatments, according to researchers. A study in the medical journal The Lancet says it means many patients can expect to live as long as those without HIV. The scientists analysed 18 studies involving tens of thousands of people who started antiretroviral therapy, or ART, between 1996 and 2010, measuring their life expectancy through till 2013. A decline in deaths due to AIDS is attributed to modern drugs being more effective in restoring the immune system, but life expectancy of those infected through injecting drugs did not increase as much as in other groups, leading to calls for prevention and treatment efforts to be focused on high-risk groups.
His dismissal has sparked a political firestorm. Former FBI Director James Comey, spotted here outside his home, had reportedly asked for more resources for an investigation into alleged collusion between Russia and the Trump 2016 campaign just days before he was fired. Comey was officially sacked for his handling of a probe into Hillary Clinton's emails that dogged her own campaign. Back then, Trump praised Comey's guts. Now he's sounding very different.
Why did you fire Director Comey? Why did you fire Director Comey?
Because he wasn't doing a good job, very simply. He was not doing a good job.
Hundreds gathered outside the White House on Wednesday to protest Comey's dismissal. They find it suspicious and want an independent prosecutor to look into the allegations of Russian meddling.
The GOP really needs to start putting their country over their party in order to reveal the truth to the American people, because we deserve to know if our president was elected due to foreign influence from Russia.
The turmoil could rock Capitol Hill until next week. The former FBI chief has been invited to testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Nobody is above the law.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov believes relations with the United States will be better than under the Obama administration. At least both countries are working on it. Lavrov spoke after meeting with President Donald Trump at the White House. They discussed the war in Syria and a Russian plan to create safe zones in the country. Trump said he called on Moscow to rein in the Syrian government. Lavrov praised the talks as constructive. Our dialogue is now free from the ideology that was characteristic of the Obama administration. The Trump administration, the president himself, and the state secretary are people of action, and they want to come to an agreement to solve concrete issues. Lavrov also met with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. He brushed off reporters' questions about alleged Russian interference in the U.S. presidential election, and said it was humiliating for Americans to hear claims that Russia controls the political situation in their country.
Foreign Minister Lavrov to the State Department.
The European Court of Justice has ruled that non-EU citizens should have the right to residency in the European Union if their children were born in the bloc. It made the judgment following a case involving a woman from Venezuela. The announcement has caused some alarm by those in the UK who wish to control immigration. The judgment resolves the problem of one family where the mother, a Venezuelan, was refused welfare rights for her European Union-born child due to her lack of residency rights after separating from the Dutch father. The court argued that any threat to the mother's right to remain in the EU would deprive the child of the genuine enjoyment of its own rights under European law. The ECJ's ruling has been described as further interference in national court judgments by some of those who voted for the UK to leave the EU.